You know that one friend who never posts? No stories, no selfies, no look at my coffee updates? Yeah, they're not antisocial. According to psychology, that behavior isn't random, it's strategic. Turns out, people who keep a low digital profile often reveal more about their mindset, confidence, and emotional intelligence. Psychologists call this a high privacy orientation, which basically means these people get a weird sense of satisfaction from keeping things to themselves. It's not secrecy, it's control. Every time you post online, you hand over a little piece of your identity for public interpretation. They know once you share it, it's not really yours anymore. It's the internet's new chew toy. While most of us are out here refreshing notifications like we're waiting for our self-esteem to update, they've mastered something called self-validation. They don't need 127 heart emojis to confirm they exist. And in a culture where oversharing is the norm, that's kind of revolutionary. That inner calm comes from something deeper, strong self-awareness. People who don't post much usually know exactly who they are, and that's a rare superpower in a world built on pretending. Psychologists call this self-concept clarity, which is just a fancy way of saying they've figured themselves out and don't need social media to confirm it. When you know what you value and what actually makes you happy, you stop needing external applause for proof. These people don't post because they already have an internal compass that says, "You're doing fine, no likes required." They're not chasing trends, and they're not trying to match anyone's aesthetic. Because here's the thing nobody likes to admit. Every post, even the no big deal, just me being authentic ones, is a mini performance. And the moment your identity becomes performative, it starts depending on an audience. These people? They'd rather be imperfect off camera than flawless online. Then there's perception management. Some people don't post simply because they've seen the internet twist harmless sentences into headline material. It's not paranoia, it's lived experience. They understand that tone, intent, and nuance don't always survive the algorithm. You could post something harmless like, "I love quiet weekends," and suddenly someone's commenting, "Wow, it must be nice not having responsibilities." Psychologists link this to high cognitive empathy, the ability to predict how others might misread your actions. People with this trait naturally think 2 steps ahead. It's not that they're overthinking. Okay, maybe a little, but mostly. Can you blame them? The internet can turn a sandwich photo into a personality assessment. So instead of feeding the crowd, these people protect their peace. And for many, that peace is preserved through emotional energy management. Some people stay quiet for the same reason they avoid crowded parties. It's draining. Social media might look effortless, but psychologically, it's a constant performance. You're choosing words, filtering photos, anticipating reactions. It's emotional labor disguised as fun. People who are naturally introspective or emotionally sensitive often feel this more than others. Posting means inviting judgment, praise, or worse, silence. And each of those triggers a tiny emotional response. Over time, it becomes draining. So, they step back, not because they're antisocial, but because they've learned the price of overexposure. This is sometimes linked to emotional regulation theory, which is a fancy way of saying your brain knows exactly how much stimulation it can handle before it starts overheating. The more empathetic you are, the quicker that emotional battery drains. So these folks treat online engagement like small talk at a networking event, politely limited, strategically avoided. Others take it a step further, choosing real-life presence over online proof. They're the ones actually living the moment while everyone else is filming it. They've realized that pulling out a phone every 5 minutes turns experience into content, and it ruins the very thing they're trying to experience, the present moment. Psychologists describe this as present moment awareness, or flow, that fully absorbed state where you lose track of time because you're genuinely engaged. People wired for this state often find social media disruptive. The moment you start thinking, "This would make a great post," you've already stepped out of the moment and into performance mode. For them, not every sunset needs an audience, and not every memory needs validation. But even presence has its limits, and many simply hit digital fatigue. Between constant notifications, endless feeds, and everyone screaming, "Look at me," their nervous systems have collectively decided, nope. Psychologists call this digital fatigue, a form of mental burnout caused by overstimulation. Every scroll bombards the brain's reward system. Dopamine spikes, crashes, repeat over time, the system dulls. The excitement fades, but the exhaustion stays. People with strong self-awareness start noticing this pattern. The anxiety after posting, the compulsive checking, the mental noise. So instead of doubling down, they unplug. It's not about being anti-technology. It's emotional detox. The human brain evolved for tribe-sized social circles, not thousands of micro-interactions a day. Constant visibility isn't natural. It's cognitive overload disguised as connection. Then come the perfectionists, the ones who could post but never do, because their inner editor won't shut up. They'll write a caption, delete it, rewrite it, question it, overanalyze the emoji count, and then, eventually, just close the app. Psychologists call this analysis paralysis, when overthinking every possible reaction or outcome makes you freeze entirely. For perfectionists, posting isn't as simple as sharing a thought. It's a full mental Olympics. Is this too much? Will people get it? And by the time their brain finishes that interrogation, the moment has passed. Along with any desire to post underneath it all is a need for authentic self-presentation, the wish to be seen accurately. Intelligent and introspective people especially struggle with this because they know how easy it is to be misunderstood. They want to control perception so precisely that they'd rather not post at all than post something imperfect. But not everyone's silence is perfectionism. Some just reach inner fulfillment. They've hit that rare psychological stage called intrinsic satisfaction, where your motivation comes from within, not from reactions outside of you. This ties into self-determination theory, which says humans are happiest when they feel autonomous, competent, and connected, not necessarily visible. People like this don't need to prove success, love, or joy through curated snapshots because they're already feeling those things privately, so they live quietly, laugh privately, and don't need to post proof of either. They've realized that peace doesn't post well. It's quiet, invisible, and not optimized for engagement. And while some find calm in simplicity, others thrive in observation mode. They are the quiet anthropologists of the internet. While everyone else is performing, they're analyzing the psychology behind it. Who posts what, when, and why? What triggers attention? This tendency links to analytical intelligence, the kind that enjoys understanding systems more than joining them. They scroll not to engage, but to collect data. They notice patterns, microtrends, even linguistic shifts. So while you're posting selfies, they're quietly building a psychological case study about the entire human condition. Over time, all this awareness can lead to digital detachment. Some people don't post because deep down, they see the whole thing as slightly absurd. The endless documenting, curating, and captioning of what's supposed to be real life. Psychologists call this existential detachment. That moment when you zoom out and realize how weird it is that we've turned sunsets and sandwiches into branding tools. These folks recognize the irony of trying to capture authenticity with filters and hashtags. They understand that the internet version of self is a persona, not a person. And the longer you perform it, the easier it is to forget who's running the show. So instead of performing life online, they live it offline. For them, silence isn't absence, it's a statement. In a world addicted to attention, not posting becomes the most authentic post of all. That silence often comes from a deeper craving, the need for psychological autonomy. Some people prefer to live offline because they value mental independence. The freedom to exist without public opinion constantly shaping their sense of self. Psychologists call this psychological autonomy, and it's basically the art of not outsourcing your identity to strangers on the internet. They've noticed how easily social media can become a mirror that reflects others' expectations back at you. The more you share, the more feedback you get. The more feedback you get, the more your behavior subtly adjusts to please the crowd. Before long, you're not expressing yourself. You're managing your brand. They prefer to protect their inner world from outside influence, to think, feel, and evolve without commentary. In a way, not posting becomes their quiet rebellion, a refusal to let algorithms decide who they should be. And then there are those who've mastered selective vulnerability. They're not cold, they're cautious. They understand that vulnerability online isn't the same as vulnerability in person. Sharing emotions digitally can feel safe, until you remember that hundreds of semi-strangers now have front row seats to your emotional roller coaster. And not all of them are cheering. Psychologists call this boundary regulation. The ability to decide when, how, and with whom you share personal information. These people still open up, just not to everyone. They've learned that real vulnerability isn't a caption, it's a conversation. Keeping parts of yourself offline isn't hiding, it's emotional quality control. Because sometimes, the most authentic thing you can share is nothing at all. And if that hit a nerve, the next video is gonna sting in the best way. It proves your bad habits might actually mean you're smarter than you think.